This is the Civivi Yonder, specifically designed by Zach Whitmore of Zach in the Wild. This is a knife that I think speaks a lot about where the knife community is and where we go from here. And I think people are missing the point about this knife overall. I'll throw the specs up on the screen, but I have been enjoying this knife quite a bit since I got my hands on it. And this speaks a lot to from brainstorming to award winner in practically a year, less than a year. If you think about this thing won awards before it was released for full public consumption. The Civivi Yonder, you can get it in G10 micarta, or you can get it in stabilized wood, which I have it right here. 14C 28N blade steel if you get it in the G10, or if you get it in the micarta. If you get it in the Damascus, I don't know what the blade steel is. I don't know if it's a 14C 28N base or if it is Damascus. I don't really understand the makeup of Damascus. I know I wanted it because I own a lot of knives in plain, bead blasted or satin or stonewashed or tumbled or whatever. And I don't own too many Damascus bladed. And I just really wanted to see fully what Zach was going for when he went for this full design. I really like the way this functions. Crossbar lock, very easy to function with. I like the utility cuts. I like the fact that you can pinch up in here, use it for those type of cuts. Very, very functional. Okay, this is what people are missing about this knife overall. First off, you can get a premium knife. And I say premium because this is the type of knife that functions well, has a very good lock, and you're spending below 70 bucks. That's a steal of a deal. I think I spent 70. I think I spent the most amount because I got this one with the stabilized wood and the Damascus steel. If I would have got G10 on my micarta, it would have cost me even less. What is that saying about the knife community? I mean, it says a lot because in years and years and years, when we first got the crossbar lock, the Axis style lock from Benchmade, it was pricey. It cost a good chunk of money. And we had that with the Benchmade 710. And now we have a lot of companies who are putting out a very good crossbar lock, and it's very reachable. Let me get that up in your face. You can see it. Very reachable, very achievable for a lot of folks that just want to have a functional knife that you can learn, you can use, and it's going to get you through a lot of different tasks. I use this for hanging drywall in my house, using it for hanging wallpaper. Right now I'm in the middle of putting some decorative wood on some drywall as well. It's nice to just have it in the pocket. It's always at the ready and always ready to go. Yonder. Okay, so if you're not American, or if you are American and you live on the East Coast and you don't really use that terminology very often, it's more of like a Midwestern type of term, but it's a term that's also used in the South. It kind of means a distant place, a place that may not necessarily exist. When you tell somebody, oh, it's over yonder, you're not necessarily giving them a specific distance. You're not giving them a specific destination. You're really telling them that it is over there. It can be done. It can be achieved. You just need to go that way. It's a very functional and good looking knife. If you want to know kind of my recommendation, just right off rip, what do I think about it? If you want a good knife from a reputable company, we Civivi and Cut, they've been doing this for quite a while. It's an easy purchase. I mean, well spent $67, and I can't recommend it more. So links in the description, and thank me later. But if you want to know what I do and don't like about it, then stick around and I'll let you know. So the Civivi Yonder, it is a 2.88-inch blade length. It, in my opinion, it does have a premium design, premium feel. It does feel like someone that is actually using a knife designed this, and they want you to get it into your hands. It has a very functional deep carry pocket clip, which I'm very, very happy to say is actually useful. It doesn't leave a lot of knife hanging out of my pocket. I can put it on any article of clothing, whether I am in corduroys, whether I'm in jeans, whether I'm in chinos, whatever. I got the wood design mainly because if I want to pull this out in a more professional environment, it looks kind of cool. It doesn't look very intimidating, but even if you get it in the micarta, it's going to come with a black blade. And if you get it in the G10, it's going to come with, I don't know if it's a satin or bead blasted or stone washed or whatever, but it's going to come with the normal looking blade. So the blade shape is a spade point. I don't think I've ever owned a blade that's a spade point. It's a very unique blade shape, but what I like about it most is when you want to get up and do a utility cut. Utility cut is when you have something laying flat on the surface and you want to cut into that specific item. It is fantastic for that to be able to get up on it. Just a little bit of jipping on the spine of the blade itself. The thumb studs are very accessible, very easy for if you want to reverse flick. I'm still working on the spidey flick with this, but for the most part, you can spidey flick as well if you want to, or you can do a traditional with your thumb and still get the job done as well. I think that overall it kind of fits in the palm of your hand and just disappears overall. Thumb stud opening, micarta scales, as I mentioned, if you want to get that. Crossbar lock is good on this tip up carry. It's an ambidextrous carry, so if you're wrong-handed, you can definitely switch this around with no issues whatsoever. All right, so let me show you what this thing looks like next to several different knives, because you may be curious about what is this going to look like for something that you already have or something you may be interested in. So here it is next to the CRKT. This is the Q Compact. This thing costs probably $140, $130 more than the Yonder. And it's a premium blade still. It's very slicey, but it's something you might want to think about. Here it is next to a mini bug out, which is very comparable in size. It's kind of let you know, like, it does feel like a smaller knife. Okay, so if you have big hands, this may not be specifically the best fit for you. Here it is next to a regular size bug out, which I even have to tilt it because my tray doesn't really accommodate both. There you go. So you can see the regular size bug out is definitely dwarfing this just a tad bit. You can see it next to one of its brethren within the Wii community. This is the Wii Banter, which is a little bit smaller than the Big Banter, a little bit bigger than the Civivi Baby Banter. So even though it's bigger than the Baby Banter, it's still a pretty good size there overall. One of my favorite, oh my gosh, one of my favorite knives when it comes to the crossbar lock is the Kaiser Drop Bear, the 154C M Blades version. This thing's going to cost you at least $40 more, if not more, just to get this one specifically. And I don't think this is $40 more worth of knife, maybe because of the scale material. I will say I do like the thumb stud a little bit more on the Kaiser, but it is what it is. Next to the mini grip, something that you may be considering, the mini grip Tillion, still going to cost you at least $50, $60, $70 more than this knife. And you can just see how this knife is such a value coming in easily, normally around 58 bucks. I think I spent 67, maybe $70 on this one specifically. And then next to another stabilized wood knife, which is, this is the Benchmade North Fork. So just to kind of show you what that looks like. Now, I said earlier this year that my knife of the year when it came to budget had to be the CJRB Pyrite Light, hashtag bars. And it kind of still is my knife of the year for the budget of the year. But budget of the year, as I say, if you make $25 an hour, you want something that's near what you make per hour, then the CJRB Pyrite Light is still there because you can often get this for $29.99. But this is a button lock. Maybe you do want to get yourself a crossbar lock. This is using FRN scales, which is fiberglass reinforced nylon. And arguably, I can say that the scales on the Yonder are better. They're more premium. So if you're in a gas station knife, maybe you get yourself the CJRB Pyrite Light, but maybe you just save a little bit more money and you go for the Civivi Yonder. I think that kind of makes sense. It's a small pocket knife made from very, very good materials, designed by arguably somebody who really put a lot of forethought into this. I can't believe this went from brainstorming in late 2023 or mid 2023 to an award winner in the spring of this year. And now it's in our hands. It is Blade West Buy of the Year. And I just don't understand why this would not be. If you think about price, if you think about materials, if you think about the utilitarian use of it, I don't know why this is not a contender for knife of the year. You know, is it going to be something that's going to be difficult to sharpen? No, not if you, especially if you get the 14C28N version. For me personally, that holds the edge well. It is not hard to sharpen, and I suck at sharpening knives. So the fact that I know, especially if you have a pretty good sharpening system, that you're going to be able to knock that out very easily, I'm very confident in that. And this is a type of knife that I think is going to push some of the industry forward and to really have to make you think about what does it mean to offer a knife that has premium materials that cost well below $70. Now, what are some cons about this knife? I do wish the thumb stud was a little bit more accessible. As mentioned earlier, I think that the thumb stud is much more accessible on the Civivi Drop Bear, and I also think that the thumb stud is much more accessible on all the bug outs, and that's just or any of the Benchmades. I don't know if it's just if it's something that can be done in a redesign. A little bit more jipping would be nice, or knurling would be nice on the actual thumb studs themselves, because it is a little bit slippery. Benchmade has a lot of not a lot of knurling on there, and the Kaiser has a lot of knurling on there. And I got the wood version. As the oils from my hand start to get into the wood a little bit more, it should get a little bit easier to grip. That's kind of what happened with my North Fork. So right now, it's not the easiest thing in the world to deploy, because it's a little slippery, but it is what it is. Not that bad overall. So I don't have a lot of complaints about this. I do think I wish it was a little bit bigger, but that's just because of my hand size. Okay, so if so for the first one out the gate, I think this is a pretty decent size. If it was 3 inches, that would make the knife bigger overall, and I think I would probably enjoy it a little bit more. But that's not what the design of this knife specifically is for. So I can understand where that is going for. But what do you think about the Civivi Yonder? Is this a pickup for you? Is this a smash? Put an S in the chat for smash. Put a P in the comments down below for a pass. Let me know what you think about this bad boy. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.